Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. They used to have a little bit of a hold on us, you know? There was an era where Democrats were willing to bully in the world of politics, and the Republican response each and every time was tuck your tail between your legs and cower, assume the fetus position, and hope the media is not too mean to you. And of course that extended culturally. You know, the leftist cultural hegemony. For a long time, they deemed what was acceptable and what wasn't. And back in 2016, supporting Donald Trump even a little bit was a risk that people weren't willing to take. It could ruin your career. Well, it seems as though this era of cowardice has finally come to an end. People aren't scared to raise their voice anymore. People aren't scared to stand with Donald Trump anymore. No, quite to the contrary. We keep seeing it happen. It's almost the normalization of Trump. Exactly what the Democrats didn't want. They wanted him ostracized and rejected. But as time goes by, more and more people are refusing to reject Donald Trump and rather are embracing him. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off in New York City. We know everything going on with Letitia James.
That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered.
We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated. We will all rise up and resist this man,
And ultimately, we'll bring him down.
Going after Donald Trump over supposed fraud because he took a loan from the bank and paid it back in full. Yeah, apparently paying your bills is now fraud according to New York. But anyways, we know who Letitia James is. She's a high-powered Democrat in New York. Now let me ask you a question. Did you ever expect to see this?
Attorney General Letitia James.
Oh, come on, we're in a house of God. First, simmer down. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for getting it out of your system. First, I want to recognize Reverend
Letitia James booed into oblivion by a group of New York firefighters as they chant Trump. Take a look at this.
I want to thank Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for that recognition.
I would have never expected that, especially not in New York, but it seems as though we're getting to a point where people just don't care anymore. You know, we're seeing less and less self-censorship and more people challenging the leftist, let's call it cultural order. They're losing control and it petrifies them. The last thing the Democrats want is for the act of defending Donald Trump to be something that becomes normalized. They want everything Trump related to be viewed as abnormal. That's the goal of all their massive smear campaigns, to make the Trump brand toxic. But at this point, I'd argue it just isn't working. More and more people are getting on the Trump train, and it's becoming a public spectacle. Here's the perfect example. Let's go from New York City down to Miami, where Trump enters the building at UFC 299.
Donald J. Trump, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White.
And then there's this clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Diamond!
And it ain't hard to see why he is one of the most popular fighters on this UFC roster. His habit was rooted in just that. But the Diamond shines bright yet again on a massive stage. And sharing a moment with Donald Trump, not to be outdone by the 45th president of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
In a certain way, it's becoming a little bit of a regained love, a little bit of a love affair. You know, for a lot of people, Donald Trump's the ex that they regret they broke up with. After 4 years of being with Joe Biden, I think a lot of people are looking back and remembering all the fond, great times. And just think about the dynamic here. The media is presenting Donald Trump as damaged, tired, depressed, and angry, dealing with 91 indictments, yada yada yada. He's not the man he used to be, he's skipped the debates. He's falling apart as the walls close in. That's the narrative they're building, and then there's, well, reality.
And 1
No one's buying it anymore. The only people who are buying it are those who are addicted to all the left-wing networks, pumping fake news copium straight into their bloodstream on a daily basis. I think regular folk, I think the majority of people at this point can pretty much see through it all. Nobody's taking Letitia James seriously, not even New York firefighters. Nobody's taking the media seriously that Donald Trump is in danger. He's guilty of fraud, guilty of RAP, guilty of this, that, and the other. People have heard it all a million times before, and they're just not falling for it. The exact opposite is happening. Just like in 2016, they're seeing all the hysteria, not buying into it, and they're being pushed over to the Trump camp. And I think we're seeing that in the entertainment industry. You could not be caught dead even saying something even close to supporting Donald Trump back in the day as a celebrity or anything even remotely conservative or Trumpian. But now we got Dr. Phil going on an absolutely based media tour, lifelong Democrat voter Joe Rogan crushing it every single day with clips like these.
Saying that he's so frail that he's transparent, right? And he's so transparent to the point where the White House press secretary accidentally tweeted at him from her account. You saw that,
yeah,
right? Which is wonderful. I love when that happens because it's like, thank you. I was wondering, and now I know. You know, I was really confused. I kind of had a feeling it was you. Yeah. You know, and is there ever been a worse White House press secretary? How did she get that job? She's so bad at convincing people. There's a bunch of like hardcore, ideologically driven left-wing pundits that are on YouTube that could do a way better job, and they would be psycho about it. They would be psycho about it, and the left would be like, like she's not the one. Like she's terrible at it. She gets called out for stuff all the time. She gets set up for stuff all the time.
It's what, and look, this is again a kind of brass tacks way of talking about it, but it's what happens when you put identity over competence.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, like, explicitly, and then when you hire someone, it's a big celebration of all the different intersectional identities the candidate has.
Yeah.
You know, this is our first, you know, black, female, I don't know, LGBTQ, not really sure.
Yeah.
And so the problem with that, though, is when you're not making a decision based on competence, merit, excellence, you're buying into it at the front end on that different hierarchy of decision making, but then on the back end, you can't do anything about it. You say, well, you elevated this person for identity. You can't fire that person because of incompetence.
Unless they steal women's clothes from the airport.
Sylvester Stallone announcing that he's leaving California.
All right, I brought you guys here on this momentous occasion because I think the house is now sold, so this is my true farewell.
To California?
To California.
Unbelievable.
And, you know, I don't know I'm ever coming back here again. This is kind of bittersweet sad. It's not easy for me to leave California. That's where I got my start. That's where I got my break. I have a lot of memories.
You know, the list goes on and on. The rappers, the actors, the entertainers. The Trump derangement syndrome hysteria has faded, and with it fades the social control that Democrats had in their weaponization of that narrative. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.